Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Our poll question today is, which Canadian team represents Canada's best chance at ending the 1993 drought? And by the way, the poll is brought to you daily by our friends at Key Auto Group. At Key Auto Group, they're driven by safety. Experience peace of mind with our comprehensive multi-point inspections. Visit keyautogroup.ca for automotive excellence. And because I know what side my bread's buttered on, Serena's got the Oilers side covered. You have the Toronto side covered. I'm going to say the Jets. The show's very popular in Winnipeg. And the reason, I'm not just saying that to kiss their ass, Darren. I think they're all great teams. There's all a really good chance. Any one of Toronto, Vancouver, Edmonton, or Winnipeg could win the Stanley Cup this year. That's a fact. So I'm going to say the Winnipeg Jets. Look, the Dallas Stars just went out and got Chris Tanev. The Jets and the Stars are tied for first in that Central Division. Winnipeg's got it all, brother. So I will vote for Winnipeg with the best chance to end the drought. Are you going to say the Leafs, or are you too afraid to jinx it?
I don't want to say the Leafs until they, prove something a little bit more substantial. But you know what? They've been playing really good hockey. A great stretch. Big win on Saturday against the Rangers. They're starting to beat good teams. They beat Vegas. They beat Colorado. They now beat the Rangers. So they've done a lot of things well. Vancouver went through a tough stretch. So, I like you saying Winnipeg. I'll say Toronto just to have the other side of it, because I think, those wins we've seen from Toronto, they're becoming a more mature team. And that's what it's going to take for that team.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
I apologize, Darren, that you got shoveled in there to the Brier and the Brand Center in Regina, and people think that I'm going to be there. We can talk and chew bubblegum at the same time. Like, Darren can go and represent me.
Yes, I'm answering those questions, but everybody just says, say hi to Rod, say hi to Rod. I'll just say it once from everybody who's here. Hi from everybody in Saskatchewan.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi. It's been that kind of day. Welcome, everybody, to the RP Show. I just kicked the camera, but I'm pretty sure we're still on the air. Yeah, it's episode number 1194, the old RP Show, and we're coming at you on Game Plus TV and Key Radio, and it's been a day. Do you guys want me to move the camera back, or we're just going to roll with it? You good? Let's bring in the Moose. He is at the Brier in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. I'm going to be going off on a little bit of a rant, so that's a warning for everybody. Very shortly, I'm going to be going off on a rant. But, Moose, how are things? What's going on day 5 of the Canadian Men's Curling Championship? What's popping?
Things are humming. Today is the day that they brought in all the kids, all the students. So a whole trail of them just went by. There's going to be more, I'm sure, in a little bit. So I'm sure that won't be disruptive to what we're doing around here. But you know what? It's a ton of fun. Seeing lots of people. Life is good. Life is good.
I know it is. It is. And things can always be worse. Yes. But I'll tell you this. The breaking news today, Facebook is down and Instagram is down. And that's not even what my rant's about. But here's the breaking news today, okay? You can fire up a sound effect if you want, Clark. At any point, but I'm reading this from yahoo.com. A Meta spokesperson acknowledged reports of outages on Tuesday for Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, preventing some U.S. users from logging on to the sites. Meta told ABC News.
Oh, no.
Here's a quote from a Meta spokesperson by the name of Andy Stone. Says, "We're aware people are having trouble accessing our services. We are working on this now." That's what it is. For those that don't know,
We're
my
working
four
on
favorite
it.
word. Yeah. Is Bob Salisbury running Facebook? Our old engineer at Harvard Broadcasting. So that's that. And then that's not even that. So whatever. As I was roaming around this morning, before this even went down, Facebook and Instagram, I was thinking about how they want this cashless society. And I'm like, I don't, for a bunch of reasons. And I say this with all respect and serious. Homeless people that panhandle for change are going to be screwed if we go to a cashless society and it's all just tap, 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 tap. And then on a day like today, if somebody decides to shut down the banking industry or Interact, we're doubly screwed. And it was like during COVID. I don't want to go all Theo Fleury on you, but our good friend Kirby from Suds said, what did we learn in COVID? They turn off the water and power. We're screwed. So that's that. And then Darren, he's sitting in the Brand Center in Regina, where I have broadcast literally thousands of events. Not the least of which Regina Pats hockey games on radio. And I used to have a problem 30 years ago with somebody coming in between games on an off night and screwing with my equipment. And it happened to Darren last night. I'm like, are these the same people? Are these ghosts? Or are these the offspring of the people that used to screw with my gear when I was there? So, Darren, can you tell the audience? And then I'll get down to sports. What happened last night to your broadcast location there?
Weirdly, somebody came in and was sitting in my chair and eating my porridge and drinking my coffee. But they,
Oh, no.
you know, something with their audio cable. It's like the least, thing that anybody would know anything about, but messing with audio cables, moving around. You know what? They probably just wanted a photo and something was in the way. But you know what? I don't know. We're going to need to hire some security because this is a high profile space.
Well, it reminds me of when I got a tour of Sirius XM in New York from Zig Fracassi on the 56th floor of the 2022 Avenue of the Americas office tower. 56th floor. It looked like a scene from Suits. That's what their radio stations look like, a Suits office. And Zig was like, sorry, I can't take him to Howard Stern's studio, but he's got it all locked up. Nobody's allowed over there. And I'm like, I get it. He may be disappointing everybody, Howard Stern, not letting anybody near his gear, but I get it. And then at Super Bowl this year, when I was packing up, the guys around me, I was like, what do I do with my stuff? They're like, leave it. I'm like, what? This is like Narnia, a land, that time forgot. You actually can leave our gear here? Oh, yeah, we got 24-hour security. So anyways, we're coming in hot on episode 1194. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please, Jordan, Director Jordan? And we are here to talk sports, of course. And the guests today are Winnipeg Blue Bombers defensive lineman Jake Thomas, live in hour one. Catlin Schneider of Team BC and TSN's Darren Dreger. Okay, so that's how Jake Thomas is in. I really got to speed up. He's in the next segment. The big story, let's rip it off quickly from the Brier. Jamie Cooey of the Northwest Territories rocked Shane Latimer's winless None of It squad 9-2 in 8 ends Monday night to move into first place in Pool B at the Montana's Brier and Regina at 4-1. He's followed by Saskatchewan's Mike McEwen and Tyler Smith of PEI. They are 3-1. You're telling me, Darren, that the big story at the Brier is Jamie Cooey. Explain.
It is, and it's a feel-good story. He's been to, the Brier countless times. It's had some success, but typically the northern provinces don't fare that well. There's so much great talent, And it's been the opposite this year. Usually it's Kevin Cooey at the top of the standings and Jamie, a feel-good story, but he's winning. The only loss he has was to Kevin, but he's at the top. Kevin's near the bottom, and it is just such a great story. And the fans, the crowd in Regina has really gotten on to the Jamie Cooey story. Not as much, obviously, as Mike McEwen and Saskatchewan, but Jamie is becoming almost a home favorite here in the Queen City.
I love it. Okay, moving on. We got to be quick because I just remember Jake Thomas is coming in next. From the National Hockey League, NHL leftovers from Monday night, and then we'll get into the trade talk. The Calgary Flames had their NHL win streak halted at 5 games Monday night as they were beaten 4-2 by the visiting Seattle Kraken. Andrei Kuzmenko scored both goals for the Flames, who remain 7 points behind the 4th-place LA Kings in the Pacific Division. Pavel Zacha scored twice, and David Pastrnak chipped in with 3 assists. And the Boston Bruins beat the host Toronto Maple Leafs 4-1. You know why I say it like that? Because this morning I was in a gym class at 6 a.m. Johnny O come walking in. Darren, he's from Boston. He's like, anybody know how Toronto did last night? And I looked at him and I said, they lost. He's like, just smiling in only the way Johnny could. He knew his Bruins won in Toronto last night. It was funny. He got me. Way to go, Johnny. And there were a lot of other games, including Florida beating the Rangers 4-2, but I wanted to mention this. The New Jersey Devils have fired coach Lindy Ruff and named assistant coach Travis Green as the interim replacement. Ruff was in his 4th season with the team. The Devils reached the 2nd round of the playoffs last year, and I kind of wondered, did they overachieve last year, or have they underachieved this year? But I think if you ask Tom Fitzgerald, the president, the general manager of the Devils, he would say, this year we underachieved, period, because that's why Lindy's fired. He was a finalist for Coach of the Year last year. I'll get your Leafs take in a minute, but I just want to say this about the Flames. I'm not sure if you've noticed, but it's come out now, and these are from hallowed reporters that cover the National Hockey League, Elliot Friedman, Frank Saravelli, these guys, that Don Maloney, and I don't even know what his title is in Calgary, and it doesn't matter. You might as well put on his business card, owner's buddy. Because they're saying, if I can walk this back, Craig Conroy was blamed for this trade falling apart with the New Jersey Devils to ship Jacob Markstrom out of town. And the goalie said he's upset with how this was handled up top. Sounds like Markstrom knew. And I don't know the names of who reported what, but I did hear, was it Saravelli? Him or Friedman, I think one of the two, basically saying this trade was nixed by Don Maloney via the owner. So he goes, it was written incorrectly that Craig Conroy was the guy that yanked the rug out from under Jacob Markstrom, and it wasn't. It was the owner, and the owner had Don Maloney deliver the message. Darren, I got upset yesterday at what's going on with the Flames because the people of Calgary deserve better. Ryan Huska deserves better. I'm on record as being a fan of what Craig Conroy's done. But you know what? If the owner can't take his hands off the wheel and let people do their job and not have people doing his bidding for him, i.e. Don Maloney, nothing's ever going to change. As Daryl Sutter sits back and laughs, and everybody else who's been fired through there, Brad Treliving sits back and laughs. So anyways, that's why I was upset. Don't get mad at me, Flames, because I've been immersed in the people, submersed in the people. The sponsors, the fans, the ticket-buying public, and they're sick of this garbage. That's all. That's all. They deserve better. You to the Leafs?
You got good hockey people in Calgary, and I think it's important to let them do their thing. And hopefully Craig Conroy will have the opportunity to do that. Leafs and Bruins last night, I mean, that's typical of what Toronto and Boston has been over the last number of years, right? The same thing where Boston just has their number. What are you going to do? I mean, they're a really good hockey team. They're deep. They've found their way. And, Toronto, it's a stumbling block, but you got to go through these. Just not a good game last night for Toronto. Couldn't get it done against Boston.
I was neat and tidy. You're obviously not panicking, which reminds me, by the way, people can laugh at the Leafs all they want, but they're a contender every year. And for that, you can thank Kyle Dubas. You can thank Sheldon Keefe. You can thank Brendan Shanahan, whoever. You can laugh at them all you want. They haven't won the Stanley Cup, but at least they're in the playoffs every year. In Calgary, they laugh at the Leafs, but you're going to miss the playoffs again. And you have no idea who's in charge. And then you get mad at the goalie for saying he's sick of this. Wow. We promised trade talk, and here's what I want to say. We don't have a lot of time here, but we're going to have a lot of time in the next hour to get into NHL trade deadline talk. But I'll say this to the viewers. Why don't you write me with what you're hearing, and I'll, sort of like standing in the batting cage, and I'll take some rips at them. Because where do you start? It's like one gigantic flea market, and who doesn't love a flea market? But I'm one of those guys that I'm not looking at the leftovers or the second, third. I do my shopping early. I don't need to go to the flea market. But I'm reading here from somewhere. I stole this. Oh, it was from the Canadian Press, by the way. There was no clear Stanley Cup favorite in the NHL this season, which is the potential to spice up activity. Leading up to Friday's trade deadline, the defending champion Golden Knights are chief among them, contenders, and now have cap space after putting Captain Mark Stone on long-term injured reserve. Western Conference rivals Colorado, Edmonton, and Dallas are also in the mix, and there are a few expected buyers in the East from Toronto, Detroit, and Boston, as well as the New York Rangers. And there's no shortage of quality players available, from Pittsburgh winger Jake Gensel to Philly defenseman Nick Seeler, goalie Jacob Markstrom, Washington's do-it-all center Nick Dowd. And this is what it has here from writer Stephen Wino, who's been covering the NHL a long time. Some teams to watch, and here's what they need. The Colorado Avalanche need a number 2 center, defensive depth, and a backup goaltender, which, quite frankly, it is important to have. But I'm sure their backup goalie currently would not like to read that. It's for the Vegas Golden Knights. What do they need? It says, whoever can help them repeat. Oh, gee, thanks. From the Oilers, they need a fourth-line center. The Oilers need a fourth-line center, a top 9 winger. I'm sitting there going. The Rangers need a middle 6 center and a depth winger. The Leafs need apparently a right-handed shooting defenseman and goalie insurance. I was talking to Jeff, my hotelier buddy down in Estevan, about these reporters that talk about Corsi stats and expected face-off wins and 5-on-5 goals. I'm like, stop! Jeff, who's a hockey man of all hockey men, as you know, he's like, nobody even understands what that crap means. So unless Steven got a scout to write this down for him, how the hell would he know what each team needs, honestly? But anyways, fire at me your thoughts and questions. We'll spend the day talking about whether we think that's real or not. But you're a Leaf fan. Do they need a middle 6 center? I don't even know what that is. Or a depth winger? Like, what do they need?
They definitely need a right shot defenseman. I know that.
Yeah, sorry, I had it wrong. Right shot defenseman and goalie insurance. Goalie insurance, it says.
And that's why one of the reasons they brought back Lyubushkin from Anaheim was to have that right shot. They would like to get somebody else in there for sure and have some depth on the blue line. I think that anybody would love that. And yeah, goaltending has been an issue health-wise and also, getting some consistency. But you go down the list with Joseph Woll, with, Samsonov, with, even, why can't I think of his name? Martin. I think you got some opportunities. Martin Jones, you got some opportunities there. But as Vegas told you need goaltending depth. What was Aiden Hill on the depth chart? 5th going into the season last year? So, and he's emerged as the guy. So, yeah, I could see it, but we'll see what happens heading into Friday.
Thank you for that. By the way, the text line's rocking and rolling, 902-518-3033. Bentley writes in from the Queen City, and he says, Rod, how on the HE double hockey sticks do you get kicked out of a curling event? Asking for a friend. Signed, Bentley. Well, the guy was drunk and beaking Brad Gushue. You can get away with it. It's encouraged at a hockey game or an NBA game, but you can't get drunk and start running your mouth at the curling competitors. That's how you get kicked out. You're welcome. All right, Moose, we're off and running. Hopefully Facebook's running by hour 2 when we see you again.
It's running, and I'll give you a heads up. I'll text you, but Jamie Cooey has made his way around here, and he'll also probably be popping in next hour for you.
Jake Thomas coming up next to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and Darren Dreger as well here in hour 1. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Everything I've worked for Everything I've sacrificed has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, everybody. Time to talk a little football on this Tuesday. And by the way, I should mention, we didn't get to football yet in our Quick Six show topics. Russell Wilson's been informed he's being released by the Denver Broncos. And that's our poll question today, brought to you daily by Key Auto Group. At Key Auto Group, we're driven by safety. Experience peace of mind with our comprehensive multi-point inspections. Visit keyautogroup.ca for automotive excellence. The question is, where will be the next landing spot for Russell Wilson? The options we've come up with are Atlanta, New England, Pittsburgh, or other. And leading the way right now are the Patriots and the Steelers, believe it or not, tied with 31% of the vote each. There's no doubt where Jake Thomas is going to be. Not only this CFL season, he'll be with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the longest-serving member, but he joins us today. That looks like the league office to me, Jake. Welcome, by the way, to the RP Show. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. It's great to be here at the league office, and it was a very learning morning so far.
Well, we're excited to get your story, Jake. I mean, we've been following your CFL career on the field for some time, but you're part of the league's mentor program through the Players Association, and you're wearing a suit to work every day. Can I start there? How do you like wearing a suit to work every day?
Well, I do a little bit of real estate in the off season, so I'm somewhat used to it. But I would much rather be in gear right now than wearing this suit. You know, I don't want to move too quick and rip something up.
I get it. Trust me, I get it. But before we go any further and talk about your career, this is the latest thing. This CFL Players Association mentorship program where you're at the league office. Can you explain to the fans what the program is and what specifically you are doing with it?
Yeah, so far today we've got to meet with a few of the higher execs with the league, but basically it's going to give us an idea of a few different avenues that you can go into post-football. So today we're learning about how to market the league, how the league makes the money. We get to kind of learn all the back-end things. Tomorrow we have the opportunity to go to TSN, learn how kind of they broadcast, just league sponsors. Then when we get to eventually Friday, we're going to be actually at the combine there in Waterloo. So, you know, rubbing elbows with GMs, scouts, and probably some head coaches. So what drew myself into it, you know, unfortunately, I'm not as young as I once was. I've been in the league since I've been 21 years old. I'm 33 years old now. So that father time starting to creep up a little bit. And, you know, I've always kind of pictured myself never fully leaving football. So I've always been interested, you know, in front office and kind of coaching. So I thought this was just a great opportunity to get like a 4-day deep dive into how all this stuff works.
This is Winnipeg Blue Bombers defensive lineman Jake Thomas with us. It's awesome to see a guy out of his helmet, out of his pads, and in another role. But I'll ask you this. You've been in the league since 2012, as you mentioned. What have you learned? You probably thought you knew how things worked in the head office. What happened that surprised you this week in the league headquarters?
Well, we're just really getting started, but I think just how big it actually is, you know, how many staff are actually here, how many different departments, and, you know, just the quality of the people that they have here at the league office. I think, you know, over the years, you don't really know how much actually goes behind it. You're so, like in Winnipeg, I know everything that goes behind it with the Bombers and who handles things like that, but never really fully know whose role that is or who runs the website, who's doing the marketing for the league. So to kind of put a name to the face, that's definitely been very unique.
I think it's awesome that they're doing that. And he is a New Brunswicker, by the way. The way you said marketing was a tell to where you're a Maritimer by trade, yeah. Jake. But now for me, the real fun stuff. You've been with Winnipeg a long time. You've seen it all, man. So talk about your time there. When you got that Grey Cup, you were the first to get it because you're the longest-serving Winnipeg Blue Bomber, which is exceptionally cool. But talk about the rise and who's responsible for it in your mind.
Yeah, so my first year in pro football, 2012, I was kind of didn't really know what to expect, but halfway through the year, our head coach is fired. 2013, our GM's fired, our CEO's fired. So I think I was thrown into the life of pro football pretty quick. You know, half your friends are getting cut or traded every year. But I think once we brought in Wade, he just kind of solidified a lot of things. And Kyle moving from assistant GM to GM, then them bringing in Osh. I don't think it was just one, but those three kind of pillars. Then with the commitment of understanding it wasn't going to change overnight. They had a vision. They knew what type of people they wanted, and they had their pillars of what they thought would create a successful team. And I think the biggest thing in pro sports is, you know, there's change that happens all the time, but if you don't give those coaches or management, ample time to be able to bring in their guys or bring in their core values. You're just going to be in those cycles of recycling coaches every 2 to 3 years. But I think, Wade did a great job of giving Kyle and Osh long enough ropes to see what they envision come to fruition.
How long do you envision yourself playing, Jake?
I take it year by year now. I would think I have a 2-year-old son who soon's going to be 3, so I think ideally I would be probably done before he's into any school that's meaningful, but I don't know. Right now it's just been so fun to keep going back. You would ask me, 5 years ago if I thought I would still be playing, I would have said no, but we have such a great locker room there, and it's hard to walk away when the team's doing well. If this was like my first few years and we're going 3-15, 5-13, 7-11, I'm sure I would have been done. But it's hard to walk away when you really care about the locker room and when the team's doing well. So I'm really looking forward to this year. Hopefully we can get that last game of the year figured out. But I wouldn't want to foothold myself into any timeline, but I would say a safe assumption, one to the next 2 to 3 years, we'll say.
Yeah, well, I get that, but the reason I ask, I've seen a lot of players come and go, and nothing great lasts forever. There's no reason to think the bad times are hitting in Winnipeg. You've been in the last 4 straight Grey Cups, but if you're to ride out now, you're literally pulling a Seinfeld and going out on top. That's all. I've had so many friends go to training camp with the Bombers as guest coaches, players that have tried out and been cut, or guys that have made the team, and they've left. They've come out of Winnipeg going, oh my God, they got it figured out. It's culture. They're going to be good for a long time. If you could bottle what they've done, and I don't know who's responsible for culture. You mentioned Wade a few times, but if you could, in a sentence or two, describe what the Bomber culture is all about, how would you say it?
I don't know if I can keep it to a sentence or two, but I think the first thing, Osh, guys would run through the wall for Osh. And I think, secondly, he lets the room govern itself. He's not controlling everyone. He's appointed leaders. And, those guys lead the team. And then if you don't fit into the culture, you're not going to be there long.
Oh, that's unbelievable. Not try to control things and let the people take care of themselves. Jake, obviously you're a busy guy. I envy you. I think it would be fun to be part of that mentorship program. So soak it all in and enjoy the rest of the offseason. Looking forward to seeing you on the field this year.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jake. Jake Thomas of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And for this week, part of the CFL Players Association mentorship program. So there you go, Winnipeg. If that wasn't just a wonderful commercial for what the Blue Bombers got going on, I don't know what would be. And thanks to the CFL for setting that up. Speaking of Winnipeg, where we're very big in Winnipeg, Don writes in, and he says on the Sober Carpenter text line, he says, it looks like my fraudulent Winnipeg Jets aren't getting any love for being a contender. Only second in the league in points percentage, but who cares? We just need a big right winger and a big puck-moving defenseman. I guess who doesn't need that? Don't sleep on my Jets, Rod. Okay, well, here's what I'm glad that you brought that up. Darren Dreger is going to be joining us next. You let me know when he logs in, please, Clark. And if you have any questions for Dregs, fire them my way now, and I'll pass them along for when he joins us. But I really think Winnipeg should be happy with flying under the radar. I know you never will be, but this is what I think about the Florida Panthers. I got people sending me videos and screenshots of the league standings, all Panthers fans. I know, you didn't think there were any, right? There's a lot. And they're sending me this, and I'm like, it doesn't matter now. It doesn't matter. You can be number one in the power rankings. You can be number one in all these statistical categories. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make me comfortable. Think about where you were last year, where the Panthers snuck in on the last weekend and needed help to do it. And yeah, they went all the way to the Stanley Cup final. Nobody saw that coming. Now everybody is expecting the Panthers to be in the Stanley Cup and win it here, and a lot of people across the continent do. And that's just, with expectations and getting your hopes up, you're just setting yourself up for disappointment as a fan base. So in Winnipeg, well, I get you want the recognition. It doesn't matter on March the 5th. So back to what Don has said here. He says, looks like my fraudulent Jets aren't getting any love. What do you need? What would make you guys happy in Winnipeg? Because anything short of a Stanley Cup, I would think you'd be upset about. James in Winnipeg or Manitoba writes in. He says, I think the Jets will make a statement in the playoffs. Well, they haven't even clinched yet. You know, last I looked, I'm guessing they're waiting until after Friday's trade deadline, but I'm not sure when the Score app puts up the playoff matchups. Which, by the way, we'll be posing this to our Cats and Bolts audience, our podcast that we host on Wednesdays, Serena and I. But somebody did post the other day what the first-round playoff matchups were as of Tuesday, and it was Panthers-Lightning in round 1. And I don't think any of that scares the Panthers at all. They beat Tampa 9-2 the last time they played. Brent, here we go. Brent in Wellington, Florida writes in. He says, just ask Boston about expectations. Ouch. Yeah, we should be asking Johnny O about that instead of bragging about Boston beating the Leafs last night. Okay, and Paul in Humboldt says, was Flames ownership one of the reasons Johnny Hockey signed in Columbus? Yeah, one of probably a handful, Paul. But thanks for sniffing that out. Dregs is next. We are live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You can throw the perfect rock and still miss. But it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
At the Key Auto Group Pre-Owned Division, we're bringing back that new car feeling. No matter what, it's new to you and priced just right. No hidden fees, prices you can trust, an upfront buying experience. And it's all at keyautogroup.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
RP Show continues on this Tuesday. And by the way, as you should know by now, when we talk hockey, it's brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company out of Calgary, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. They're located at 28th Street Northeast, right across the street from Overtime Hockey Lanes. Darren Dreger joins us, and I appreciate him because I got to ask you, Dregs, these days you can track it through clicks and so forth. Free agent frenzy in July or NHL trade deadline? Which generates more hype? Because it's insane at both ends of the calendar.
Yeah, it's a difficult question to answer, Rod, because I think there's a differing view on it. The hype is generated around the trade deadline for obvious reasons. This is the final tweaking or significant add that any of the clubs can make prior to going into the playoffs. And so any fan of a team that is playoff worthy, or even better than that, a Stanley Cup contending team, is hoping that their club adds that piece, something that's going to make them that much better. So, fan perspective, I think the hype and the intrigue is generated here, but I think the buzz machine is maybe louder as we approach the summer and July 1st. And part of that is because you've come out of the playoffs. The Stanley Cup has been awarded. You've gone through the draft where there's, again, been a dose of wheeling and dealing and all of that. And now you've got a wider audience to work with here as well. You've got general managers, you've got pro scouts, you've got the agents on July 1st that are heavily involved. So it's a little bit different, but certainly there's a high level of interest and electricity around both dates.
Yeah, for sure. And it keeps guys like you in business, obviously. So I got to ask you, and I can tell you're sick. I won't keep you long, Dregs. I appreciate you for pushing through this time of year and this very busy week. But can I you mentioned our Calgary sponsor, or you heard me mention our Calgary sponsors there. What are your thoughts on what's gone down there on the Jacob Markstrom situation? There's a lot of finger pointing going on, and it's just ugly. What's your take on it?
Yeah. Well, it's not going to get any prettier, Rod, unless Jacob Markstrom ends up getting traded between now and Friday. And there's still a possibility of that. We know that Tom Fitzgerald and the New Jersey Devils, who did something drastic to start the week by firing Lindy Ruff, still feel like they're in it. Now, they're a long way from the cut line, but post-trade deadline, you still have an ample amount of regular season action to maybe claw back. So I wouldn't be surprised if Fitzgerald, in fact, I know he's going to take at least one more run at Craig Conroy and Jacob Markstrom. I believe that Markstrom wants to go to the New Jersey Devils. So what I would wonder, if you're Conroy and the Flames, is it prudent to sit out and wait now, thinking that, all right, well, we might be in the playoff mix here as well. That was a big loss last night, by the way, to Seattle. Is it prudent to wait and see if the market gets better? Keep in mind, Jacob Markstrom has a no-move clause. If he wants to go to the New Jersey Devils now, and he wants to go to the New Jersey Devils in the summer and nowhere else, well, then guess what's going to dictate the terms of that trade? It's going to be Jacob Markstrom and his no-move clause. So, I think we can also all appreciate the predicament that ownership, management, and the Calgary Flames are in. No different than the New Jersey Devils. Try and envision a playoff team of the Calgary Flames that doesn't have Jacob Markstrom in goal. It's a tough thing to come to terms with. But one way or another, it's going to come to a head here in the next 72 hours.
Well, I'm be happy when it's all over, and then it's hammered down and we're officially in the home stretch. But, Jacob Markstrom started his career with the Florida Panthers. I hear his name around here a lot. They loved him in the brief time that he was here. I just want to ask you about the Panthers. They still aren't getting a lot of pub, even though they're the number one team in the NHL. Do you see them doing too much here this week?
No, but I pause there because Billy Zito is a general manager who gets in things. He gets involved. We've seen that there's been an appetite to do something significant, but that was building to where the Florida Panthers are now, right? And you talk to Paul Maurice, you talk to Billy Zito, you talk to any team that plays against the Florida Panthers. It's more of a want to tweak, if anything, not a need. The Florida Panthers don't have a need. I mean, if Florida's playing the Toronto Maple Leafs, Rod, as an example in round one, well, if I look at the goaltending in Florida versus Toronto, Florida's better. If I look at the defense, unless Brad Treliving does something, he acquired Ilya Lyubushkin. All right, well, Florida's defense is still better. Up front, even though Toronto's got that star power up front, I'm probably giving the edge to the Florida Panthers. So I think that you could see some tweaking. Maybe they add a depth forward, but I've also heard Zito's name in something bigger, right? There's been the Noah Hannafin speculation out there. How he'd find a way to make that work, I can't be sure, but I can guarantee you he's been involved in a lot of conversations. But it is a healthy place to be as a general manager when you look at how hard your team plays every single night and you don't feel the pressure to have to go out and add something significant.
Yeah, well, as I've mentioned on our Panthers-specific podcast, they have a string of healthy black aces as it is. Josh Mahura can't get into the lineup, and he's great. Of course, he played for the Pats. Of course, he's great. But, Dregs, when I first came down here and started doing this show, Joel Quenneville was the coach, by the way, of the Panthers. Right. So I've seen this team go from young, not knowing if they could win, to older, not old, older, and expecting to win. And I'm wondering what the Leafs mentality is. Are they fragile or are they confident? They're in your backyard there, because that's what I think will tell the tale for that hockey team.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I don't have a hard answer on that. Leading up to the game that they played against the Boston Bruins last night, I would have leaned towards the Maple Leafs being a more confident group. Shot in the arm with the acquisition of Ilya Lyubushkin, so that doesn't necessarily firm up their back end, but it filled a need for a right shot defenseman. And then they don't start on time. They don't match the passion or the hunger of a Boston Bruins team that had just recently been scolded by its head coach in Jim Montgomery for playing inconsistently and not playing by the structure and the standard the Boston Bruins have worked hard to develop over the past couple of seasons. So, when they get into a role, they are as good as any of the top contending teams in the National Hockey League. And I don't include their goaltending in that. It's just they have too many breakdowns for us to really know where they're at. They're not at the level of Florida Panthers. I established that a minute ago. But that's not to say that they can't do some damage. And in a 7-game series, if they get on that roll like they've been prior to the Boston game, then, they've got a chance to gain that confidence that you have to make it to the Stanley Cup final.
Last one, Dregs. You know Kelly McCrimmon better than anybody else. Do you sit back and just smile at those moves? Like, here's an old name for you. Tim Tisdale, when he was coaching the Pats, said, if Kelly McCrimmon calls you for a trade, said it to our GM, hang up. You're not going to win. Yeah. And I watched Buffalo here last week with Tuck and Peyton Krebs. I'm like, they're great players, but they're not doing anything in Buffalo. Krim wins another one. They're obviously going to be there when this thing, in the end. They're always going to be there in the end, right?
He will throw punches until that bell sounds. That's it. That's just the way he's wired.
And after the bell.
If he can get that shot in after the buzzer, he's going to take it. There's no question. That's how he was raised. And, God rest his soul. I think of the battles that he and Beast must have had growing up. And there was an individual who just would never quit. And that's the mentality of management of the Vegas Golden Knights. So, yeah, they've got some tough times now. We know that Mark Stone isn't coming back before the end of the regular season. He's questionable for the playoffs, and Stoner is the heart and soul. He really is on ice of the Vegas Golden Knights. Okay, well, there's no sense crying in your beer over this stuff. Try and fix it. So McCrimmon most definitely is going to add. To what degree, Rod? I mean, I'm looking at Jake Gensel, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Maybe Noah Hannafin of the Calgary Flames. Is it possible he lands both? I mean, hard to imagine, hard to wrap your brain around that. But what I know is that McCrimmon is going to do everything to bolster this lineup, utilize the cap space he has to try and successfully defend that Stanley Cup championship. And that is the very reason why, you know, when they have the cap space in free agency, almost all free agent players want to go to Vegas. It's not just because of the taxation. They get that in Florida. They get that in Dallas. They get that in Nashville. What you get in Vegas, every single year is an opportunity to win a Stanley Cup. And that's because of how aggressive ownership allows management to continue to be.
Yeah, the players have figured that out fast. They ain't stupid.
Yeah.
Dregs, thanks for coming on while on the injured list. I appreciate it, man. Enjoy the week.
Thanks for having me, Rod. I always appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. TSN's Darren Dreger, former voice of the Brandon Wheat Kings, the pride of Langenburg, Saskatchewan. We'll be right back with a sports update and audience takeover right after this on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
We're all capable of doing more. more speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now back to the studio with Rod.
Okay, here we go in this beautiful studio here on the RP Show. I'm going to get to a few viewer comments and then read the sports update just regarding Winnipeg and what do they want? What do you want? John Ohm says, we just want respect in Winnipeg. Just give us that. I would say win a Stanley Cup, and then you'll get the respect. That's what happened with the Blue Bombers. 30-year drought, nobody respected them. Boom, in 4 straight Grey Cups, winning 2. Win a Stanley Cup, and then you'll get it. And even then, you might not. You either were absent that day, John, or just didn't hear me when I said nobody's ever going to give you credit. Nobody's ever going to give you credit. Do your thing. Recognition is it's just not going to happen. And that's nothing against Winnipeg. Nobody's going to come out, okay, you're great, Winnipeg. How about that? Does that make you feel better? James in Manitoba writes in, and he says, the disrespectful comments on Spittin' Chicklets about the Jets being frauds, I hope they swallow that comment and look like a fool. Who said it as a player? Or who made that comment? I don't know, bro. I don't listen to Spittin' Chicklets. It's not like I don't like them. There's just a hell of a lot to listen to and read, and that's not something that's on my agenda. From Devo writes that he says, this just in. Leafs are still #1 contenders to lose in the first round.
Spicy.
How about that? Sports update as promised, and then back to comments if we have time. 902-518-3033 for Sober Carpenter non-alcoholic craft beers. Ask for them by name at your local beer, wine, and spirit store. There are 9 games in the NHL tonight with 4 Canadian teams in action. The Edmonton Oilers, who have won 4 in a row, visit the Boston Bruins in the marquee matchup of the night. The Nashville Predators, who have won 8 in a row, host the Montreal Canadiens. The Seattle Kraken visit the surging Winnipeg Jets, and the Western Conference leading Vancouver Canucks visit the LA Kings. We did not play our breakaway bet segment yesterday. I apologize for that. We will be sure to do it next hour. Can't believe people are actually paying attention to that. And that's on me that we didn't. Minnesota will be aiming to move into first place in the Professional Women's Hockey League tonight when it hosts 5th place Ottawa. Minnesota is 2 points behind league-leading Montreal, who plays New York on Wednesday. This sports update brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. And for Landmark Cinemas, coming to Landmark Cinemas March 22nd, Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire. In the latest Ghostbusters, the Spengler family returns to where it all started, the iconic New York City Firehouse, to team up with the original Ghostbusters, who've developed a top-secret research lab to take busting ghosts to the next level. Starring Paul Rudd, Annie Potts, and Dan Aykroyd. In Landmark Cinemas, March 22nd, Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire. Next hour, Catlin, Schneider for sure. I think Jamie Cooey, and for sure the Moose after this brief pause here on Game Plus Television and Key Radio.
At the Key Auto Group Pre-Owned Division, we're bringing back that new car feeling. No matter what, it's new to you and priced just right. No hidden fees, prices you can trust, and upfront buying experience. And it's all at keyautogroup.ca.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
I apologize, Darren, that you got shoveled in there to the Brier and the Brand Center in Regina, and people think that I'm going to be there. We can talk and chew bubblegum at the same time. Like, Darren can go and represent me.
Yes, I'm answering those questions, but everybody just says, say hi to Rod, say hi to Rod. You know, I'll just say it once from everybody who's here. Hi from everybody in Saskatchewan.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
It absolutely is. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Hour 2 of the RP Show. And as usual, we got a lot on the go today. We got a lot on the go on episode number 1194. This is what we've promised you. Some we've delivered on, some we have not, but I will guarantee you we'll get to it all. Trade talk in the National Hockey League. Darren Dreger was with us last hour to go over that. I got more thoughts. Moose is at the Brier in Regina. Catlin Schneider will be joining us next segment, I guess, from Team BC. Darren telling us that he just made a game-winning draw to the button, or just a draw period, Darren? Draw 10 off the ice and he won. What was the shot?
Yeah, it was a draw. He needed to get a piece of the forefoot, and he did more than that. He might have even got a piece of the button on his final shot. So as we're watching that, not that necessarily I want one team to win over the other, but I'm like, he's coming on our show. I really want him to be in a good mood when he's coming on the show. So please, Catlin, make the shot, and he nailed it. Great shot. So he'll be with us in about 15, 20 minutes.
Okay, repping BC, the province of BC, now at 3-2, and he beat Reed Carruthers of Manitoba, who drops to 3-1. So there's your curling stuff, and Catlin Schneider will be with us next hour. As I say, I've been promising the trade talk. We delivered that. We have not spent as much time. I didn't even get through our quick six show topics, and that's fine. Biggest reason was because Jake Thomas joined us from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in hour 1, segment 2. So I'm just going to pick up where we left off, Darren, what we didn't get to. The news that came down on Monday from the NFL, the Denver Broncos are releasing quarterback Russell Wilson 18 months after signing him to a 5-year, $242 million contract extension. The 9-time Pro Bowler went 11-19 over 2 seasons in Denver. Wilson's release means the Broncos will take a record $89 million salary cap hit in dead cap charges over the next 2 NFL seasons. So our poll question today, and it's brought to you by Key Auto Group, as it always is. At the Key Auto Group, you can buy with confidence, knowing that they provide reports on all vehicles they sell. Get fully informed about your next vehicle by going to keyautogroup.ca. So Russell Wilson out in Denver, and we can look back for a second if we want as to why, but that's not the question. The question is, where do you think he lands next? Because he's going to land somewhere. Will it be the Atlanta Falcons? Will it be the New England Patriots? Will it be the Pittsburgh Steelers? Or will it be other? And leading the way in the poll, it's the Steelers and the Patriots tied with 31% each. Now, I don't know what you do in the morning, Darren. I've never stayed with you. But I got up this morning, and I was reading The Athletic, and there was some pretty good commentary there. They have some very good writers at The Athletic, and they kind of remind you of something. When the Broncos got Russell Wilson from Seattle via trade, Nathaniel Hackett was the head coach, not Sean Payton. That's the biggest reason why Russell Wilson's on the next thing smoking out of Denver. He's not Sean Payton's guy. That's what I read. That's what I believe. Would you believe that?
Yeah, 100%. They signed him to an extension, a 5-year extension, and it hasn't even kicked in yet. He's still playing on the deal that he was on in Seattle. It hasn't even kicked in the extension. So you're right. Not Sean Payton's guy, but they took a year with him. It didn't work out, so now he's on the move. And I'll break the tie. I think Seattle would be the landing spot for Russell Wilson. They've got a great group around him. They've got a good defense. The Steelers. My bad, Rod. I think I said Seattle. I meant the Steelers.
You saw my face there, yeah.
Yeah. I'm
so
like, wait, what did I
Pittsburgh.
say?
Well,
Pittsburgh.
Yeah. And again, reading the articles, if they are to be believed, there's a lot of teams in the NFL that don't have quarterbacks going into 2024. Like the list of teams that could acquire Russell Wilson that he could legitimately start for next year is a long list. Tells you why they're paying these quarterbacks as much money as they are, because they're hard to find.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's our talk on that. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. homered and had an RBI single as the Blue Jays beat the Phillies 5-2 Monday in spring training action. Of course, the game we're not at, he plays and homers. And Bull Bichette had a 2-run single for the Jays, while Luis De Los Santos drove in Toronto's other run in that win over the Phillies. They're playing the Pirates today in Bradenton, Florida. Oh, I got too many things running through my mind. And also the Toronto Raptors have signed Canadian center Kelly Olynyk to a multi-year contract extension. Details not reported, but ESPN saying they were not announced, but ESPN's reporting it's a 2-year deal worth $26 million. Because I was sitting there going, Kelly Olynyk's been in the league a long time. He's from Kamloops, right? It's one of those weird things. Like, how is Terry Poole, the Houston Astros great, from Melville? Doesn't make any sense, but he is. How's Kelly Olynyk from Kamloops? But he is. And it just feels great to me that the Raptors would have great Canadian players. Do you know what I mean? And that's a me thing. I think the Grey Cup should have a Canadian halftime act. And to be honest, I sat down with John Paddock when he was running the Regina Pats, and I said, you need to have more local players, John. You don't have any local players on the team. You know, when I was calling the games, we had 5. And he was like, yeah, they sucked. Because it doesn't matter where they're from as long as they win. And I was like, that's why you're running the team. Toodaloo. Thanks for the chat. But it does feel good that Kelly Olynyk's running the team, right? Or, sorry, playing for the Raptors. Sorry, not running the team. Maybe he's running the team, too.
Great. And it's almost like, the rule now with the imports, when you play on a team in the CFL for long enough that you can get that status, right? That national import or whatever they're calling it now. But You know, when you get Canadians playing in Canadian teams, and the NHL Western Canadians playing in Edmonton, Calgary, and Winnipeg, I think that always helps get the fan base engaged. And Kelly Olynyk, that's a great signing, re-signing from the Raptors. He can be kind of one of the faces of that franchise. I think a real rooting interest.
Just regarding the Jets fans, Winnipeg Jets fans are upset. I mean, I don't listen to Spittin' Chicklets. I've explained why. I'm not anti-Biz. You know, he's a friend of mine. I just don't, it's just not my thing. So they said on there that the Jets are frauds, and it's got everybody upset. And you probably missed this, but John Ohm was like saying, we just want respect. I'm like, you're never going to get it. Win a Stanley Cup, and then maybe you'll get it. Maybe. And Jeff the Stamps fan's written in and says, respect is earned. And that's a fact. Thank you, Jeff the Stamps fan. You have never said anything that makes more sense than that or is more correct than that. Respect is earned. And furthermore, before we play our breakaway bets for tonight, Darren, so get ready with your picks in the National Hockey League. I just want to re-up again on the Flames from what I said an hour ago because it's important to me. I was pretty hard on the Flames yesterday by saying, get your act together. What are you mad at Jacob Markstrom for saying he's upset at being dicked around? And you had to make it known, get it out there through your media sources, that the Flames are upset that Markstrom said what he said, and shadowing Mika Kiprasov jersey retirement night. In 10 years, nobody's going to remember what Markstrom said that weekend. And the latest on the Flames pulling out of the deal with the New Jersey Devils was that Don Maloney nixed the deal. Whatever his title is, let's just call him assistant GM or senior advisor to the president. Let's call him the owner's buddy, because it's now been reported by reporters that I respect that Don Maloney was delivering a message from the owner, Murray Edwards, to nix the trade. As long as that's going on and people have no idea who's in charge, I've been with dysfunctional franchises and I've been with championship franchises. And just so you know what goes on at championship franchises, this isn't it. When we won championships, we knew who was in charge. If you want to know, you want an answer, go to one guy. He'll give you the answer. You may not like it, but you'll have your answer. You know what I mean? Stand up and not be afraid to take it on the chin. And it's just, the Flames fans deserve better. That's all that I'm saying. Don't get mad at me. You're going to miss the playoffs again. Any thoughts on that before we play Bet Regal breakaway bets?
We talked about it last hour, and you know, I agree with you. I hope that Craig Conroy has the ability to make the decisions he needs to make. He's a smart, bright hockey mind, and I just hope he can do what he thinks is best for the team. That's all.
By the way, Patrolman Pete writes in and says, LOL, John Paddock, harsh. Well, at the time, if you remember, Darren was, no, you weren't around me when he came to the Pats. It was 2014-15. You and I hadn't even met yet, but I was like, I think my feelings were hurt because he was so blunt and direct with me. I didn't like him at all. I actually went to the ownership about it. And then guess what they said? Deal with it. And then as I got a little older and started to figure things out, I'm direct and honest with people, and they don't like that either. It hurts their feelings. But guess what? We're doing you a favor. This is the way that it is. So the sooner you realize it, the better. We'll win without players that are from here. You watch. And then he did. What do I say to that? 2 years later, they're in the league final. With not one Regina kid on the team, not one. And guess what? I didn't care either. It's 1:11 Eastern, by the way. 1:11 Eastern.
There it
is. Beautiful. Hoorah!
Colin in Ottawa says, people say Mark Chipman and the True North Group aren't a great ownership group, but Calgary Sports Entertainment and Murray Edwards are way worse. That's the other thing. Yeah, I'm going to stop. I don't want to bash the Flames. I love the Flames. I do. I want the best for them. But they got to get out of their own way. And the one thing you hear from, Yeah, I won't say anymore. Glenn in Medicine Hat writes in and says, fans in all Canadian NHL markets seem thin-skinned. I wonder if it has to do with the teams always calling them knowledgeable. No. The thing is, they love their teams too much. That's the thing, man. I say it in Saskatchewan. The people know football. That's very evident, Darren. We know that. They know the game. That's a bit of a problem. They know too, and they love the team too much. Makes their brains fall on the floor. All those Canadian NHL markets, the fans know the game. They know it. You can't snow them. You know what I mean? But they love their team too much, and it clouds their vision and their judgment. That's why you need me to be the guide and lead you out of the wilderness. No charge. Okay. I've been threatening to do this forever, and we're going to do it now. Are you ready to play our breakaway bet segment? NHL games tonight, straight up. There are 3, 6, 9 of them. The Columbus Blue Jackets at the Pittsburgh Penguins. Who do you like in that one?
I actually like Columbus in this game tonight.
You can have them. I'll take the Penguins. I think they've lost 3 in a row, and their season is going down the toilet, but they got some pride. They'll want to win now that they're back home. The Florida Panthers at the New Jersey Devils. Who do you got to win?
I'll take New Jersey. If Travis Green's behind the bench, what do you call it? The bounce there? I'll take it.
That's not mine. It's Jamie Neugebauer's. I can't take that. No, that's unfair and cruel to animals. It's called the dead cat bounce.
Well, I didn't say it.
And that's from Nugsy. Right. I'm taking the Devils too. Panthers played just last night. I think they've won 5 in a row. They'll be a little tired. Although Anthony Stolarz is playing in his home state in goal for the Panthers. But, yeah, I'm with you. Dead cat bounce. Ada, keep it to yourself. Game of the night. The Edmonton Oilers at the Boston Bruins.
Ooh.
Who do you like?
I'll take Boston.
Okay. To keep the peace in the house, I'll take the Edmonton Oilers for their 5th win in a row. The St. Louis Blues at the suddenly surging New York Islanders. Patrick Roy has them rolling in my mind. I'll take the
Blues in this one tonight. I'll take the Blues.
Perfect. The Seattle Kraken at the Winnipeg Jets. Who do you like?
Give me the Jets. The Jets.
Me too. The Montreal Canadiens at the Nashville Predators. The Preds have won 8 in a row. I think they'll make it 9. Who do you like, Predators or Canadiens?
I'll take the Preds too. I like them right now. They're playing well.
Toilet Bowl in Arizona. Coyotes home to the Chicago Blackhawks. Who do you like?
I will take the Coyotes.
Okay, I'll take Chicago. The Dallas Stars at the San Jose Sharks.
Give me Dallas in this one tonight.
Me too. I'd like to say San Jose in an upset, but it won't happen. And the Vancouver Canucks at the Los Angeles Kings. That's a hell of a battle there. Pacific Division. Who do you like?
Yeah. Give me Los Angeles. I'll take the Kings.
Okay, I'll take the Canucks. That was easy. Catlin Schneider in next. Catlin Schneider in next.
Yes, and I know this is off script, but as you go to break, someone's going to sit in the chair just to give you a wave. You don't got to say hi. And Catlin is ready to go next.
All right. Dubbed tonight, by the way, the Brandon Wheat Kings are at Medicine Hat and Victoria's at Spokane. Who's he putting in the chair? And the Victoria Royals are at the Spokane Chiefs. You can put I can't see them. Who's he got in the chair there? Oh, hi, Bonnie. Hi, Bonnie. Hope retirement is good. Love you. A wonderful nurse from the Pasqua, now retired. Yeah, Darren's in my own old home stomping grounds there from the Brier. We'll be back in a moment. We are live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
RP Show brought to you today, as always, by Key Auto Group out of Yorkton, driven by safety. Experience peace of mind with our comprehensive multi-point inspections. Visit keyautogroup.ca for more automotive excellence. They got all their deals there, service, of course, and we're just real happy that the Yorkton Terriers have been saved by the community. We'll talk about that more later. We're very excited to be broadcasting from the Brier, and we're welcoming in Team BC's Catlin Schneider, fresh off the ice. I'm getting roaring reports, Catlin, about this victory. They all are much needed at the Brier. But you, with your last shot, a draw to win 9-8 over Manitoba's Reed Carruthers. Congratulations on it, man. You're looking fit and trim as always. Big win, eh?
Thanks, Rod. Yeah, that was a big one. Knocked off the last remaining undefeated team. So you don't see that very often at a Brier on a Tuesday. So yeah, pretty pumped. We knew that was a must win for us. It's different this year. It's only top 3. It's not top 4, as we've seen in some previous years. So it's a dogfight out there. There's a lot of crazy things going on, a lot of upsets. Yeah, it's going to be fun, and we just got to keep our head down and keep doing what we're doing.
I should mention the others. Manitoba, Dunstone, it's a final, right? Yeah, 9-6 over New Brunswick, and Northern Ontario over Scott Howard, Ontario, 10-6. This puts you at 3-2, Catlin. That was like, as I look at this, that was must win. Like, they're all must win, but this one specifically was must win, was it not?
Yeah, I think moving forward, they're pretty much all must wins. Like, you might get lucky at 3 losses and sneak in. You got to have a good draw, which at the time, like the Lost Stone draw, LSD, which we don't at this moment. But you know what? I think just one game at a time, go out there and put our head down and focus on that game and try not to look too far ahead.
Well, and I'm sure you'd agree, literally one shot at a time, but we're sitting here broadcasting on national television, Canadian Men's Curling Championship, the Montana's Brier. We were teeing this up going in through a wonderful partnership with Curling Canada, all these Sask boys that are repping other provinces or wildcard teams. Can you explain the road to come in with BC, like the lid you've got on right now? I forgot you went out there. So how did this happen?
Yeah, well, after last year, I knew there was going to be opportunity out there as a opening as a skip. Been thinking about skipping for a couple of years, so it just kind of worked out. You can have an import player. You can also have a birthright player. So if you're born in that province, you can always curl there. And you can have one person curl on your team that lives somewhere else that wasn't born there as well. And so we have 2 guys living in Victoria. Jason's in Edmonton, but he was born in BC. And I'm the import player. So, yeah, I mean, I had the Brier sketched on my calendar for a long time now. And that was our goal this year. And it's great to be here. It's tons of friends and family, and it's been awesome. The patch has been buzzing. We're just happy to be in it and kind of get rolling now. And you know what? We were really close in the first 2 games. Scott Howard made an unbelievable shot, kind of a thin triple to beat us, or else we're 4-1 right now. And we're in the head front. So, that's how it is. Every team's great out here. You're going to have some really good shots go for you, really good shots go against you. And, yeah, we're just staying patient.
Well, you know what's wild about that is, you know, I've been at a lot of national championships, tankards, provincial Scotties, and then national championships like Super Bowls and Grey Cups and Memorial Cups. It's like the round robin's all fun, but the big one's still coming. You know what I mean? It's like it's I'm sure it seems wild all week, and the wildness is still coming. Right? How do you keep your head about you as a team? How do you do that? Even when you mentioned on the weekend losing to Scott Howard, how do you keep your spirits up, knowing we're still a good team? He just made a shot at the end that that we didn't.
Yeah, it's one of those games. That one was one of those games where it's like, hey, it was our first game at the Brier in front of kind of my hometown crowd. We were all just a little bit nervous to get going, and we played really well. So I think that was the most important thing. We didn't come out with the W, but it would have been a lot better. Or a lot worse, if we would have got absolutely smoked in 6 ends and see you later. Then we would have to have some chats. But we just said, hey, we played well. It was a quarter inch from us winning that game. And let's just keep up to it. And actually, honestly, had a decent game against Dunstone, too. They had a couple fortunate shots, run-ins that just went really well for them. And that's how it goes out here. Like, every team's so good. You need a couple lucky bounces. You got to kind of be lucky to be good. So, yeah, I mean, we put ourselves in a good spot now, and we play Northern Ontario tonight. Again, in a must-win. So I'm proud of the boys. Everyone's playing really well, and I think we have a good shot to make the championship pool.
Well, to be honest, when I saw your name in the pool, it kind of tugged at my heart a little bit, because you've been through a lot in your curling road. To come back with BC and the shot to win this thing, I mean, I was around, Kat. I know. There's a fire burning in you. Trust me, I know it. I'm plying my trade elsewhere, right? What was your emotions coming into this thing? What was it like? And it'd be one thing to look across the ice and see Mike McEwen in green. We'll get to that, but there's a lot of motivation for you here.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and I mean, we went through the highs and lows. I mean, with us curling with Matt Dunstone there, and we won a bronze medal in Kingston, and then I was with Flash in Lethbridge, and we made the playoffs and lost on an angle raise shot that Gushu made against us to go to the semifinal. There, we made the playoffs there. So obviously both for Saskatchewan, and so it has been an up and down, kind of wild, and that's curling. It seems like nowadays. So yeah, I think the big thing for me coming to this was it's going to be a bit different wearing the blue. But you know what I said? I don't care what color I'm wearing. I'll curl with my shirt off if I have to. If I can play in hometown Brier, that's all that really matters. And let's just try to give ourselves a shot to be in the playoffs and be there at the end.
Well, plus you're an athlete, right? So you look around, because I've had Hebert on this show. I've had Dunstone on this show. I've had Rachel Holman on this show. We've talked about the chaotic nature of sports right now. And who was it that said, it might have been McEwen, that this rule isn't new. It's just rare that skips would move from province to province. And Michelle Schneider did it a few years ago with Manitoba. But it's blowing people's minds, right? What's the reaction been like for you coming home to curl with BC? What kind of reaction did you get coming into this thing from the fans?
Yeah, obviously, I think people would prefer me to be in the green. But nonetheless, yeah. No matter, all my close friends and family, they're cheering for me no matter what, and they're here rooting. I think it's just different, right? Like, we're curling against teams on the world stage that can pick from an entire country. Italy, Sweden, some of the top teams in the world, Scotland, right? Whereas we're pretty subjected, or have been subjected to provinces here for a long time. So I think Curl Canada is trying to open that up to make sure that our top guys can still play together. We have more options to create teams, from different provinces if we need. But also still keep the historic Brier and the provinces intact, right? So that you still are cheering for your province, kind of thing. And that's a big thing. We can't lose the Brier. It's the greatest curling show on earth. So I wouldn't want to be in that hot seat making those decisions. It's not easy. If you open it up to everybody to play with anybody, then you kind of lose the provincial feel. And you have guys curling from all over the country together. And if you don't open anything up, it's tough to find four guys in one town that have this ability to find sponsorship, to have a job and a family that supports them to be gone that much, and just actually just have the ability to do it too. So I think they've done a pretty good job so far. It is a different feel, and I think people are slowly getting used to it. And I don't think everyone still understands the rules. But we're doing what we can to try to beat all the other teams in the world that aren't Canadian, right? And that's not easy. Everyone's good these days. So yeah, it's interesting, and I'm taking it in stride and curling for BC at the Brier in my hometown of Regina. It's definitely a different feel for sure, but I'm happy to be here nonetheless.
You're Weston Dressler coming back with the Blue Bombers. That's what you are, to play at Mosaic Stadium. And he won. By the way, he won coming back in blue.
That's right.
So but yeah. I just say the way that rule was, the way the rule is, it's working, right? It just, people don't like change, and I'm guessing curling fans lead that parade. They don't like change, but it's working. So I guess I'll just say this: your game tonight, your thoughts on it, and plans for keeping your hammer down the rest of the week.
Yeah, we play Northern Ontario tonight. They've had a great week so far. I think probably one of the biggest surprises here, and in a good way. They've curled awesome. They're at the top kind of the pool right now. They just beat Scott Howard. But a big one for us, if we can be at 4-2, push them to 2 losses, we're right in the mix. I think people have overlooked them a little bit, I think, is the issue. Trevor hasn't been here before, but obviously he's curling super well. So I think if we can just have the same mentality coming into this morning against Jacobs and Crothers, I think we'll be okay. And we're gonna have lots of people cheering us on tonight, so it'll be good. Yeah, and that's as far as I'm looking tonight. Not looking any farther than that.
That's all you can do. As you said, one game at a time. Well, I never thought I'd cheer for BC for anything, but because of you, I am. So, Catlin, thanks for the time, man. Good luck.
Thanks, Rod. Appreciate it. Take care, man.
Catlin Schneider from Team BC, and he did drop off a jersey from when he played for Team Saskatchewan. We have it framed, and maybe And we had it in the bunker back in the day, and Darren has it there at the Brier. So if we have a minute, we may show it. And you guys let me know if Darren's sliding back in there or where we're going from here. That's fine. Oh, what? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay, well, Dallas is writing in from Sask. Okay, well, he's out of Dallas is from Silton Sask. He's a little out of control with his text messages here. He says Kirk Cousins will sign with Atlanta on Monday. From Silton Sask. That's out near Long Lake, right? He says Kirk Cousins will sign with Atlanta on Monday. The Vikings will draft J.J. McCarthy out of Michigan. The Vikings will bring in Russell Wilson for free. And money saved for Justin Jefferson at 5 years, $30 million per year. Skol! Marketing department's dream. See, Dallas is just shooting his shot. He's shooting for the stars there with all those things that he said. But wouldn't it be something if he was right? Wouldn't that be? Yeah, it seems so far-fetched. But I also got a text message the morning that Darren Carter picked off Bo Levi Mitchell for a pick six and won the game. That morning, somebody said, wouldn't that be something? If Darren picks Bo tonight. I said, God, you're drunk. Go back to bed. Then it happened. Grant in Edmonton writes in, 902-518-3033. Says, I'm not an analytics guy, but the Jets have had the 6th easiest schedule in the NHL so far. So, number one, Grant, you are an analytics guy, obviously. And two, who cares? Although I will say this, and then we'll break it. I'm sure we'll bring the Moose back in, but analytics are one thing, taking care of your body is another. And I heard an interview with Bill Zito, the Panthers general manager, on NHL radio with my guy Scott Laughlin. And he talked about all the time that they've put into rest, travel, the thought, weight training, and how, and while that all seems elementary, not everybody's doing that. Because the Panthers have a lot of travel. I would suggest the Jets have more. But look what the Panthers are doing. They're kicking the crap out of everybody. They're the number one team in the NHL. And it's not just about talent. It's not just about X's and O's. It's what Grant's saying, who your opponent is, travel. It's an interesting time in sports that I don't think the fans understand how much work is going into the things that you don't see, let alone the schedule. We'll be right back. We are broadcasting live. Hasn't this been fun from the Montana's Brier 2024 edition? We're on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Brier Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, everybody, what a great day it's been. You knew that it was going to be great broadcasting live from Montana's Brier, and it has been, as advertised, great. Just before we bring the Moose back in, can I read you a sports update number 2? On this Tuesday, the Toronto Blue Jays visit the Pittsburgh Pirates in grapefruit lead action in Florida today. Bradenton, to be exact. Toronto improved its spring training record to 3-7 with a 5-2 win over the Phillies on Monday. Vladdy homered in the game. Wouldn't you know it, the one I wasn't at. The Blue Jays sent Jose Barrios to the mound today against Pittsburgh's Jared Jones. And the Toronto Argonauts announced today that former CFL quarterback Drew Tate has joined the coaching staff as an offensive assistant. A 12-year CFL veteran player joins the Double Blue staff from Saskatchewan, where he coached receivers in 2023. The Texas product started his coaching career following his playing days in 2018 with Coastal Carolina before coming to the CFL as the BC Lions quarterbacks coach in 2019. He played in 147 career CFL games, won 2 Grey Cups in 07 and 14, and he played with Calgary, Ottawa, Saskatchewan, and Calgary, Ottawa, Sask. Sports update brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. In Landmark Cinemas now, Horizon, an American saga. In the great tradition of Warner Brothers Pictures' iconic westerns, Horizon, an American saga, explores the lure of the Old West and how it was won and lost through the blood, sweat, and tears of many. Produced by and starring Kevin Costner. And also brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. Okay, please now bring the Moose back in. And from what I understand, Clark's done a really good job steering the ship here. He's telling me that you have a gift there, Darren. What's up?
Yeah, so Catlin's been really good to us. This is game worn for the set, signed it up, all the rest. So we can add that to our collection. of wonderful stuff that we've been handed over the years. So big thanks to Catlin Schneider for that.
He has literally given us the shirt off his back.
That's right.
What else can we say? And he is the skip of Team BC. And it's quite interesting, man. You look at these numbers. You know it. You're more of a curling guy than me. And I think people need to understand something. While I don't delve in head first into everything, I'm following everything. Like, I kind of know what's going on. You're the guy that broadcasts the curling, you know. But I look at the numbers, the ratings, the digital numbers, and it's insane. And the thing is, my American friends look at curling and they're like, damn, that's something. They're looking at the highlights. They're looking at the full arenas. Like, this is no small thing, what's going on in curling. You know what I mean? And so you got to answer this. I mean, I could take a swing at it, but you're the curling guy. In the absence of Bob Weeks and Vic Wireless Router, you're our curling guy. B. Henderson in Winnipeg writes in and says, how come they don't make a super team with the top skips from all of Canada when it comes to the Olympics or Worlds? It's just not the way it's set up.
Great question.
But how would you?
Yeah, it's a great question.
It is.
Because I've thought about that, you know. We saw this in Scotland. The national champion isn't going to the Worlds. They selected a team based on, you know, point standings or whatever criteria they want. So it's like that. How they do it is like, it doesn't matter who wins the Brier. We're going to pick Brendan Bottcher because he's the best team in the country all year long. We've thought about the super teams, but you know what? Teams play well together and in certain spots. You know, skips aren't often throwing guards up. And that could be really difficult. If you don't throw those shots, all of a sudden you have to be the lead on this team and throw up guards. That doesn't work. And also, your skips aren't necessarily your best sweepers. That's why you have Ben Hebert or Colton Flash, two of the best sweepers in the game in those spots. So again, everybody has a role. You can't just have first-line scoring centers running your team. You got to have role players, and that's why curling is such a great sport.
Well, it's really, really cool, and it's a great question. Not just the sport itself, but just the devotion to it, the devotion from the athletes that goes into it. And you just mentioned the Olympics. My good friend, our good friend Ben Hebert won a gold medal. The best team has to win to go, and I don't think we have a problem with that. I mean, the best hockey players are thrown together and will for the next Olympics. That's kind of what he's saying. Why don't you do that? But speaking of the Olympics, just so people know what's going on in my life, we have a viewer here. He might be watching now. He's a regular viewer, but he's going to the Olympics in Paris as part of Team Canada. I don't want to say what sport. But he said, why don't you bring the RP show to the Olympics? Like we could just do it, for one. He's like, why don't you
get in the DeLorean
from
and go to the Olympics?
Yeah.
Prove.
Yeah, sure. But I said to him, I don't really want to leave Florida, like, ever. You know, as somebody asked me recently, they're like, do you plan on living anywhere else? I'm like, no, not only do I not plan on living anywhere else, I don't plan on leaving, ever. And my friend that's going to the Olympics and will be part of Team Canada in this one sport said, Florida's always going to be there. You can only go to the Olympics a couple of times in your life. Florida's always going to be there. Yeah, I guess, when you put it that way. So what do you say, Darren? Do you want to go to the Olympics?
Well, of course I want to go to the Olympics. Be great. I've never been. But,
let's go.
You know, how do we snap our fingers? Remember we had a pilot watching back in the day? So if they're willing to fly us, you know, to Paris for the Olympics, I'm in.
Yeah, he's a WestJet pilot and a big CFL fan. So at this time of year, there's not a ton of CFL coverage. As a matter of fact, the news of the day is Drew Tate being hired by the Argos. And good for Drew. He's such a good guy. I remember when I read the news release there that he won a Grey Cup in 2007. He did with us. He was a practice roster guy, and he was really aloof, like to the point of almost, I thought there was something wrong with him. You know what I mean? Like, what's wrong with this guy? And then I learned that's just the way that he is. He's quiet. He's, not everybody can be, jumping in front of cameras. Janelle from Saskatoon writes in. She says, I'll go as the RP rep. Let's go. Apparently we're going to the Olympics.
LFG.
See what we've done.
Yeah, I know. Patrolman Pete in Winnipeg says, my mom worked corporate hospitality at the 88 Olympics in Calgary. She had a blast. See, I went to the 88 Olympics in Calgary, and it was my last family trip with my parents as just the three of us. Because after that, it was grow up. And I was 15, and I had my driver's learners, and we drove out to the Olympics, and we had a big time. And here's the one thing that I don't understand. The way that we grew up, you just think it's the way that you grew up, right? But I ran into Sean Burke recently. He was the goalie for Team Canada in the 88 Olympics. And I was like, he was here at a game. I'm like, hey, Berkey, I watched you. And we talked about the Olympics. He's like, what? Couldn't believe it, right? Because there's just so many people that weren't there 40 years ago when people were doing their thing. And there was no snow, by the way. People are talking about how you were saying that there's flowers blooming at your Toronto home. There was no snow in Calgary at the Olympics in 88, and there was this huge worry. I guess they ended up making snow, but we went to luge, we went to hockey, and I think one other sport. I was 15, and it was awesome. And as far as going to the Olympics or not, I plan to be at the Los Angeles Games in 2028 with you as part of USA Football's broadcast coverage, team, staff, whatever the hell it is. You know, people are starting to realize you're doing your thing in Canada, I'm doing my thing in the States, and it's all working together. And those USA Football guys were at the Super Bowl, and they're like, hop on in, right? So they're expecting it too. So we're going to be at the Olympics one way or the other, Darren, is as I land the plane on this.
Good.
Any last thoughts before I let you go and come back for overtime?
No, I'm looking forward to that too. The Olympics in 2024 might be a stretch, but LA in 28 is definitely on the radar, 100%.
Well, that's the thing. This guy just found out. I forgot that it's this year. Yeah, pretty sure we won't be doing that. Okay, Moose, have a great job wrangling those guests, and we'll see you. We'll see you a little later.
You bet. Sounds good.
We'll be right back. It's the RP Show on Game Plus Tele. Get your questions in, because I've already read the sports update, so I want to hear from you. Fire me the rumors you've heard. NHL trade talk. We've covered everything we said we were going to do today, and that's rare. We'll turn it over to you when we come back in overtime on Game Plus TV, Key Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
At the Key Auto Group Pre-Owned Division, we're bringing back that new car feeling. No matter what, it's new to you and priced just right. No hidden fees, prices you can trust, an upfront buying experience. And it's all at keyautogroup.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
This is it. It is overtime for our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, where skill and fun collide, where they've now added lacrosse. So you young lacrosse players, get down there and work on your game. Those that go to the next level are the ones that put in the extra time. Overtime Hockey Lanes, 28th Street Northeast in Cowtown. Tell them Rod send you. Ask for Randy or Michelle. So this has been fun. My heart is full, as they say. 902-518-3033 is the text line for Sober Carpenter non-alcoholic craft beers. They're brewed in Montreal, but served all over North America. I buy them here at Total Wine and Spirits. Ask your local beer, wine, and spirit store for it. By name, Sober Carpenter. As I said, I focus my attention on hockey and football. Clark's is those, but also baseball. But I'm paying attention to everything and have a long history in all these leagues. And, for instance, Gary writes in from Penticton. Gary with 2 R's. And I think he's a Rider fan. I think, Gary, you were familiar with me before this show, am I right? But he wrote in yesterday, and he said, why is there not a cash reward for these national curling championships? And I said, there is. Gary has written in today from Penticton, BC, where he watches every day on Game Plus TV. TELUS, Optic Channel 924, Shaw, Rogers Channel 230. And he says, you're right. $100,000 to the winners, Brier and Scotties. Well, of course I know I'm right. I knew that. And I'll do you one more. We were doing that banquet in Paradise Hill, Saskatchewan. Me, Rachel Holman, Daryl Sutter, Brian Sutter, and Buddy Bensmiller. Chuck Wagon Great. And the news had just come out. And I would think people would be embarrassed that it wasn't this way before, but there was announcement was made that the Scotties winner, the women's champion, would finally make as much as the men's winner, the Brier champion. It hadn't been that way. And I asked Rachel how she felt about that on the microphone, and she goes, great. They're going to pay me retroactively for the last 3 that I've won? Which I thought was a fair question. And the answer, unfortunately, was no. And that was the night Daryl Sutter and I got in a fight. Not physically, but Brian was between us. And Daryl said something that upset me, and I went back at Daryl, and he was upset that I was upset. And we went back, and Brian was like watching a tennis match. Next day, Rich called me. What'd you say to Daryl? What it was Daryl said that he hated all media guys. Right at the start of the interview. And I said, what a coincidence. I hate all coaches. You got that look, that Daryl look. I said, well, you're going to make a comment like that? I'm going to make a comment like that. And it went downhill from there. Dave, number 3 in Winnipeg, writes in, and he says, hey, Rod, have you guys seen Kelly Chase's son fight in the SJ? Wow, like father, like son. I have not. Have you, Clark? Producer Clark? He was in Melfort, last I heard. Actually, he was in Canmore. And that's where I ran into his mom, Raylyn, who I went to high school with. Where is he? Oh, Clark's not sure. Last I heard, he was in Melfort, but then he went to Canmore. Where is he playing? And the quick answer is no, I have not seen Kelly Chase's son fight. I knew that he was on his way there. Oh, Nipawin, Clark says. 902-518-3033. Allie in Texarkana writes in, and she says, it's a beautiful day, and it was a wonderful RP show as always. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you, Allie, and now look at all you know about curling. How about that? John Ohm, I think you need to go have a nap. He says goalies are like punters. A dime a dozen, right, Rod? Yeah, is that what you think of Connor Hellebuck? You think you can just go find another Connor Hellebuck? I'll wait. Goalies are not like punters. They're like quarterbacks. It's the most important position on the team. And in a way like kickers, where they say you don't think they're important until you don't have one. And that's why here in Florida, the highest paid player on the team is my guy, Bob. Panthers and Devils tonight, Ryan in Saratoga, New York. Ryan, he says, have a great Tuesday, Rod Squad. Enjoy whichever sports you watch. I'll bet you Panthers over the Devils, Ryan. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
Who has more fun than us?